Hi Gemini, welcome to your June 2019 Astrology 33 reading, and happy birthday also, by the way. We have the Celtic Cross spread in front of us, which is normally a 10 card spread. You guys got a couple extra cards that came up though. And then we actually have some Oracle cards to get through, and a mudra card as well. Before I forget, for those of you who want to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel. Check out the description of the video for more info on all that. And also keep an eye out on the channel because I'm going to be doing some extra for all the signs this month as well. So, it'll be after I get all of the general readings out. But like I said, just keep an eye out for that. All right, so we'll get started with your main spread. Going with the main situation card first, where you guys got the Knight of Cups. So this is actually a court card that represents Pisces normally. So, this could point to you dealing with a Pisces. Pisces also represents your 10th house. So there could be some movement for you in the area of career or maybe even social status. But the primary vibe that I'm getting from this is definitely some kind of an offer being made, a love offer, most likely. And in that regard, you guys are also a knight, so, you guys would represent the Knight of Swords, for example, as a mutable energy. So this could even just be pointing to the fact that, you're going to have Venus coming into your sign this month as well, so maybe, you're still carrying on your knight energy, but then with the Venus energy infused with that, maybe you're coming from a more loving place this month. That could be what's at play. But for most of you, I'm really picking up on the vibe that this might be coming from someone else toward you. And like I said, it does represent Pisces, could be any water sign, or it could just represent the energy they're bringing toward you in general, which would be about some kind of a romantic offer, most likely. Now in the challenge and obstacle position, we have the Ace of Swords and the Six of Cups. So what this shows me is that this is definitely someone that would be coming around from the past. Or if it's you extending the offer to them, it'd be someone that you already had a connection with at some point. Because to me, the Six of Cups is definitely a card about, nostalgia. I even refer to it as the being the bigger person card, as we see in the artwork there. I look at the size difference between the two people. And the person who appears bigger in the actual picture is actually the one offering that cup to the other person, right? So this could be someone that you had a falling out with. But keep in mind, though, this isn't a challenge or obstacle position. So given that the Knight of Cups is in the main situation, it probably will happen this month. But, the challenge or obstacles, it could be that there's some truth that needs to be spoken with the Ace of Swords here. And with the Ace energy as opposed to the Page energy, to me, I view it as more, it's in the idea stage. So, whether it's you or the other person, there's the idea to say, you know what, I need to reconnect with this person. If there was some type of issue between the two of you, I need to let bygones be bygones, communicate to them what's on my mind, and get things rolling again with the connection. So that's what I'm seeing there. Now in the foundation position, we have yet another Knight energy, and this is the Knight of Wands. So this is actually the card that represents Sagittarius. So, on the one hand, for you guys, Sagittarius represents your opposite sign, right? So this could definitely, again, be pointing to that relationship energy. And this could also be, if it's the same person, let's say, maybe this is the energy that they had in the past, right? Maybe they were very much in and out, very inconsistent. Maybe it was a fun connection, but not exactly the most stable connection. So, that could be the difference there, right? Maybe saying that this is how they've approached you. If we look at the fact that this Knight is pointing to the left, which we would view as potentially, past energy, whereas the Knight of Cups is pointing in the forward direction, meaning, the energy going forward. So if it's the same person, that could be what it was. Maybe this was the person that was a bit more consistent and, yes, maybe passionate, but also, not as set as getting something serious off the ground with you. But to me, the way I'm really seeing this, even more likely than what we just said, is the fact that given that this represents Sagittarius, right now in the sign of Sagittarius, you have Jupiter there, and it's in retrograde. So to me, again, with that horse pointing in that direction, that almost to me points to the retrograde energy of Jupiter right now, saying that, to me, with the karmic planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, when they go in retrograde, when we think about a Mercury retrograde, for example, it's usually the emphasis is on what you can do, right? Okay, this is a good time to review things, right? Reconsider, so on and so forth. In my opinion, when the karmic planets go in retrograde, it's about karma being rebalanced. So again, if there was some kind of falling out between you and a person, that could definitely represent that now with Jupiter going retrograde, that situation might be fixed between the two of you. All right, in the past position, we have the Two of Wands. So this actually is the card that represents the first 10 degrees of Aries, and there's not really anything going on there anymore. But, there was definitely a lot of energy passing through there in recent months, not to mention, your sign, or your ruler, rather, of Mercury also passed through these degrees. So maybe during one of those transits, you had on your mind that you wanted to travel. So maybe this is someone who's at a distance from you, right? Maybe that's what's going on there. And, maybe this was you planning to see them or they to see you. And maybe the actual, it's a little hard to see if the travel did happen or not. But I do get the feeling that this was actually taking initiative and at the very least, planning to start something, whether it be to travel to see them, possibly even one of you discussing moving towards the other permanently. But yeah, that's the main energy that I'm getting there, is that the initiative was being taken in the past. And like I said, with all those Mars energies, not to mention you guys had Mars, which rules the sign of Aries. Mars was in your sign for about a month and a half recently. Now it's in Cancer. So that could have given you that energy as well in the past. Because at the bottom of the deck for you as well, we have the Emperor. And that actually, is Aries energy once again. So this could just be saying that all of the themes that we see colored here might have had to do with the transit of Mars going through your sign over that past month and a half, basically. As I'm recording this, it's moved on to the sign of Cancer, but basically through all of April and the first half of May, it was basically in your sign, Mars. So could be pointing to that. All right, now in the present position, we have the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune. So first things first, having not one but two major arcana cards in the present position means that this will be a pretty significant time for you. And the interesting thing is, again, we have more mutable energy. This represents Virgo. Virgo is another of the mutable signs. And we have another Sagittarius card, basically, because this represents Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius. So again, with the Hermit also looking in the past, that could again be pointing to energy with the Jupiter retrograde, right? And with Virgo representing your fourth house, this to me can just be pointing to maybe moving. So again, that's why I'm really feeling like this here, that Two of Wands there. Maybe you were considering moving in the past, and maybe this is saying in the present, it looks like the timing might be right for you to do so if that's what you were planning. And again, it could also be travel as well. But for me, I can't look past the fact that the Hermit is basically looking down at that Two of Wands in the position that they are in the spread. So, to me, this movement, or again, even if it's travel, it might be kind of long distance travel, given that Sagittarius can represent that. Looks like you might be moving a little bit closer to making that move one way or the other. And of course, you could also be dealing with the Virgo or Sagittarius, but I'm picking up more on that's more than likely probably your energy. And, this could just really say that you're really thinking it over. And obviously, that's what makes it a little more likely that it is either a significant move or a pretty big, travel destination, because of the fact that, it looks like you're giving it a lot of thought. If it was your energy in the past and you're still there in the present, this is something that you're definitely not taking lightly, whatever the plans are. All right, in the near future position, we have the Devil card. So a lot of major Arcana stuff going on here, but this is actually the Major Arcana card for Capricorn. So, this could just be saying you're dealing with a Capricorn, but I'm not really feeling that as much. With the first thing that comes to mind with me with this is the fact that right now, Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, is more or less moving in step with the South Node in your 8th house. So, this could have even been maybe a financial situation, right? Maybe there was some money that should have been coming to you that was held up, and maybe that was what was holding everything up, and maybe now with the Wheel of Fortune, whatever that was about is going to be freeing up for you. So, maybe you're going to have some more finances coming your way. And given that this is the Two of Wands and the Emperor energy too, this could even just be saying that work that you've been putting in recently, you've been putting in the work, but you haven't seen the payoff necessarily. And maybe now this is saying, because that Saturn and South Node transit going on right now is very karmic. And like I said, when those outer planets, because now Saturn and Pluto are actually both retrograde in the 8th house for you, that can be an energy where some things, that were off the rails get corrected in a karmic sense. So that could be what's going on for you there. This can also point to a karmic relationship. So again, like I said, if this is someone that you were dealing with in the past, this Knight of Cups, and they're coming back around, or you're going back around to them, I mean, they're looking right at that Devil card. So this definitely looks like it's a karmic connection. Now, I like to leave that up to the individual, whether you want to view that as a good thing or a bad thing, right? I'm not going to, make that leap for you and say, oh, this is a soulmate, this is this, this is that. But karmic connections, they tend to have a purpose, and usually it's for you to learn some lessons, whether they be together and you actually learn those lessons together and grow together, or there's a lesson that you need to learn with that person before you can move away from the connection and towards a connection that's healthier for you. But the pull could be very strong between the two of you as well, with the Devil energy there. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Three of Wands. So again, this is another card that gives me that vibe that you could be waiting on something. Like I said, we had that Two of Wands in the past, now with the Hermit in the present. So this could just be saying that, you could have been putting in work on something, and now you're waiting for the rewards from that to come your way. This is a card that represents waiting for your ships to come in energy. It's another Aries energy as well. Middle 10 degrees of Aries for what it's worth. But yeah, so, this could just be representing the energy that you're in right now. It's that cardinal energy mixed with some fixed energy, which is to say, okay, something you took initiative on, now you're taking that break to see if it's going to yield results for you, and then go forward from there. So that's the vibe that I'm picking up on with that. So, maybe this was someone you were waiting on to come see you, for example, going back to that travel thing. Or maybe they were talking about moving toward you. And maybe that fell off the rails for a bit, but maybe now this month they're actually coming back your way. Now, what's interesting is the position of the environment's influence on the situation. We have the Three of Cups. So, what this could represent, again, if this is in a relationship dynamic, to me what this could represent is both of you are kind of set in your ways. That's the first vibe I'm getting from that. Because again, this person's not really moving, right? It's waiting for your ships to come in. So this is you coming from that position of, I did what I have to do, now it's their turn, right? This person likewise could be feeling a similar way, like, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about putting any work here. I'm going to do my own thing, right? So that could be the place that you're both coming from. And especially with that Devil card in the near future, Devil can represent ego attachments as well. So that could just represent that if this is a connection between the two of you, maybe it's ego that's getting in the way between the two of you, and you're both kind of set in your ways and not really getting any traction. But another way that this could play out is if we look at the astrology, Mars will be moving through. This is a card that represents the middle 10 degrees of Cancer, and Mars will actually be moving through those degrees more or less the first half of June. So this could just be saying that, especially, like I said, if this was something you were waiting on, money to be freed up, someone to come back your way, whatever the case may be, if we look at this as just a representation of the energy in the environment rather than any particular person, this could just be saying that you're celebrating that finally whatever you were waiting on to come your way finally does come your way. And what's interesting to me is we have a third 3 energy in a row in the hopes or fears position, and this is the 3 of Pentacles. So to me, I'm going to assume that this is a hope because it's a pretty positive card, especially in the upright, and the hope there is stability, to build something stable. I view this as a combination of Saturn and Venus energy, which is to say, Saturn lends that stability, that, long-lasting quality to something, and then Venus adds that quality of it being something that you're pleased with, right? It's something that you find beautiful, something that you enjoy. So those 2 energies coming together. So this could just be referring to that connection, or like I said, whatever you've been working on, as far as, let's say it's a creative project of some kind, or just a work project that you've been putting in work on. Your hope is for it to yield something in the way of stability for you. So, but yeah, it is interesting to me that right there in a row we have three energies. Now in the outcome position, we have the 7 of Swords. So, I feel like no matter how you really spin this card, there's not really much of a positive spin to put on this card. But this is actually a card that represents the last 10 degrees of Aquarius. And right now, astrologically, there's not really anything at all going on in those degrees. Or in your 11th house, if we wanted to look at it as representing the 11th house. Nothing really going on there either. So really what this could just represent is some kind of deception. Now, what I would say is it would be coming to light. Like what I always say with the 7 of Swords is this is someone thinking they're going to get away with something, but ultimately they're not, right? Like if we look at this person, it looks like they're in a hurry. So it looks like they know that they're up to no good, but at the same time, it's not well thought out, right? Because the way they're holding those swords, that doesn't look like the smartest way to carry swords, right? So, whatever you want to say, they'll get cut by doing that, and then obviously you could see, all right, well, now I know who did it, right? Or just to say that karmically, they would get caught up, and hurt themselves in the long run by doing what they're doing. That's the positive way that plays out. And if we want to look at where that might be coming from, I believe Jupiter in your opposite sign is going to square Neptune again this month, around the middle of the month, around the time of that full moon, actually, in Sagittarius as well. So that'll be around the 17th or 18th of the month. And then Neptune will actually go retrograde as well. So again, like I said, with the karmic planets, Neptune being one of those, when they go retrograde, they tend to correct things on a karmic sense. So if there was someone who's been deceptive with you, it's more than likely going to be found out this month, around the time of that full moon most likely, maybe even right when the sun moves into Cancer, because that's when Neptune will go retrograde. So no one wants to go through that type of deception, but at least that's the silver lining there, which is it's pretty unlikely that anyone's going to get away with that this month. Now, in a more positive way, this could just represent, especially like I said, if this is a connection where it's 2 people coming out of ego, could just be some unspoken truths between the 2 of you. Maybe they're giving you some of the truth, but not the whole story. So, people, whenever you see this and you think of a relationship, you automatically think of infidelity, right? But it could just be 2 people like trying to play emotional chess with each other, like maybe this is someone having more feelings for you than they're comfortable expressing, right? So they might give you a little bit of what's on their mind, but not everything. This could just also represent someone not putting in a lot of effort towards the relationship too, right? If we look at each of those swords there representing one person in a connection, then this could be saying that they're looking at those 2 swords like, well, this is stable, this will always be here for me. I don't have to really put in the work and the effort to maintain it. I'm going to go do what I got to do. So, it doesn't have to be cheating. Could be anything. A bunch of hobbies, whatever you want to say, throwing themselves into the work, which is obviously fine to an extent. You always want people to have their interest outside of the relationship, but you also have to try to balance those things too. So, that could be how that's playing out. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. The first one that came up is To the Sea, and there's the artwork for it, and that's number 7. So interesting, there we have the 7 of Swords and the 7 here, and I was talking about travel. Maybe this is just another indicator saying that you need to travel, right? Especially if that's the type of energy you're dealing with. Maybe it's saying just distance yourself, get away from that, and let it all take care of itself. But we'll see what the specific messages are in the book. All right, essential meaning says being in flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. The oracle's message says, isn't it wonderful when you feel yourself in the flow of life, when events and conditions seem to engage you in a way that is fluid and effortless? This card reminds you that going with the flow is exactly what you need to do right now. Ride the wave of opportunity formed by perfect conditions. Allow trust and faith to guide you forward as you flow like a river into the sea of life. All right, the relationship message says there are points in a relationship when you have to decide to go with the flow rather than dictate the course you share with another. Can you let go of the need to have things your way and allow the relationship itself, your combined goals and desires, to steer the ship? Can you both transcend your personalities and allow the partnership to form its own identity, its own energy? Now is the time to relax and see where this mutual journey leads. So that's definitely an interesting message there, because what stands out to me about that is, going with the flow, and then, like I said, with the Emperor energy at the bottom of the deck, that could represent you possibly wanting to control everything, right? Because we do see some Aries energies here. We see the Devil card there. I did already cover how I said, this could just represent both of you being set in your ways. And because of that, you're not really getting any progress. So this could just be saying, let that stuff iron itself out. And like I already mentioned, with the karmic planets in retrograde in pretty significant spots for you, that could help ease that up as well. So something to keep in mind there. All right, and the prosperity message says, everything seems to work out when you stop scrambling and allow the sea of opportunities to wash over you and wake you up to your most prosperous potential. To get into that flow, you need to address your beliefs about abundance and money. The true meaning of your personal currency lies in your skills, your talents and abilities, and most important, your core beliefs. Everything flows from your inner world and is reflected in the outer one. When grateful to serve, you align your prosperity consciousness with a higher consciousness, you can expect miracles. Everything you need will come to you easily. So that's interesting there, because with the Hermit representing the 4th house, that could represent, early beliefs that you grew up with. So maybe that's what it's saying with the Wheel of Fortune. Maybe it's saying you're reevaluating those beliefs and trying to see what fits and what doesn't, right? That could be what's going on there as well. And, I do have to mention you guys have the North Node in your 2nd house too. So that could definitely help in the area of finances. And then the South Node in the 8th. So, maybe karmically something that you were, I don't want to say do necessarily, but, karmically something that should be coming your way might come your way during that transit as well. All right. And let's look at the next oracle card you guys got. This one's from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, and you guys got Horse Spirit. It says, freedom is yours. There's the artwork, and the number on this one is 33. Won't focus for some reason, but yeah. It's actually the first time I've seen this card, so I'm curious to see what it will be about. But it is interesting. You got Horse Spirit, and like I said, we have 2 knights on the table as well, which obviously have horses. But Oracle message says, when Horse Spirit appears, you are gifted with the spirit of movement and freedom. It is a time for travel and adventure, whether that means a trip somewhere or taking a different type of journey, one of freedom of choice. Horse Spirit reminds you that no matter the circumstances, you have free will and choices that can take you far away to a better place, a better situation, a better state of being, for there is no one but you to rein in your will to make a different decision. You are capable of making powerful choices that will affect you for a long time to come. Horses are social animals and known to be a friend to mankind, willing to carry us forward when we need it. Horse spirit reminds you that help will be available to you whenever you need it, and companions will be by your side wherever you choose to go, whatever direction you choose to travel. Life is an adventure, and Horse Spirit wants you to know that whatever choices you make, you have great spirit within, invisible yet holding you up and always walking by your side. If your inquiry is about a relationship, you can set your heart free to experience love in all forms. Spirit whispers to you that the gift of freedom is yours if you allow yourself to break out of your perfectionism and stubbornness. Make a move and enjoy the freedom of letting go of the need to control. So interesting there that, again, we have, like I said, another thing that points almost to that Emperor energy that I was talking about, and it looks like two people set in their ways in a certain regard. So that just re-emphasizes that message there. And a lot of things about travel too. And also what stood out to me is it was talking about, wherever you choose to go, that you'll have companions by your side. So maybe if your concern was, well, if I move to this new area and I won't know anyone, maybe that's a sign for you there saying that, wherever you do choose to go, you'll quite easily connect with some people that'll help you along your journey. All right. And lastly, we have a mudra card. So for those of you who haven't been watching my videos from this year, so if you're new to the channel, basically I've been pulling mudra cards for all of the signs this year. And what a mudra is, for those of you who don't know, is basically it's a hand gesture that you make while meditating, and their purpose is to help clear blockages. So sometimes it could be, emotional or on the mental level, but can even occasionally be on the physical level as well. So basically you would do the gesture while meditating. Usually you want to hold it for a minimum of 5 minutes, sometimes even as long as 45 to an hour, I think some of them say. But to me, if you're not used to meditating, 5 minutes should be fine, especially for us busy Geminis, all right? So yeah, the one that you guys got for this month is the Garuda mudra. And I'll just let you guys, hold this up for you for a bit if you wanted to take a screenshot or pause it to read what it has to say. All right, and then I'll, since everything doesn't fit in the frame right now, I'll move it up so you can see the rest. But yeah, as far as benefits, it says improves intelligence, increases digestive fire, activates Manipura Mudra, builds martial prowess, and according to legend serves as protection against snakes, snake bites, and venom in general. So that's an interesting one, depending on where you go. But yeah, it could even just be pointing to, if we want to look at that Seven of Swords energy, like I mentioned there, that'd be a different kind of snake, but maybe it'll help you with that too, as far as weeding out individuals who might be a bit dishonest. But yeah, we'll wrap up there, guys. I will put the name of that mudra in the description as well, in case you wanted to look into it a little bit more, if you think it does sound like something that would be helpful to you. Happy birthday once again. Like I said, check on the channel soon. After I get all the generals out, I'm going to do some extra for all the signs. And yeah, it's pretty much it. Happy birthday. See you guys next month. Bye.